Odell Beckham Jr. and possibly Von Miller making their debut tonight for the Rams. Rams are going into San Francisco. The 49ers are 0-4 at home. Not looking too hot recently, coming off of a bad loss to the backups of Arizona. The Rams coming off of a loss as well to the Titans. So this is a division rivalry game. Anything can happen. We've seen crazy things happen recently. So I'm excited about this. We've got some good value to talk about. And we got to talk about, do we want to play Odell Beckham Jr. at that price tag? And with him actually, if he gets snaps, who does that affect the most on the Rams? We'll get into that. But for now, obviously, thanks for joining us, guys. This is the Edge DFS. I'm Tyson Smith, joined by Ellie Hernandez. Ellie, that game last night was interesting. I wasn't surprised by the outcome. I actually, that's how it should be. But I think everybody was a little bit, I wouldn't use the word surprised, but I didn't expect that to happen last night. I thought it was going to be a closer game, right? Didn't you?
Yeah, I absolutely did. I didn't think that the Chiefs defense would come in and actually just shut down Derek Carr and the Raiders offense. It looks like the Chiefs used it as a get-right game. And to your point, right, like it's not necessarily unexpected. I personally did not build with much Mahomes in mind. Simply because of how difficult it is for him to pay off. But I don't know. I'm pretty sure he was pretty close last night.
He was the optimal captain by far.
Yeah,
he scored like 39 regular, 30 or 49. Yeah, he scored a lot of fantasy points. And if you didn't have him a captain, you were probably not doing too well. I was like in third place or something like that in the second half, and then my lack of exposure for him at captain just it didn't do too well for me. It really didn't. But if you guys watch the show, I mean, we play what we talk about. So obviously we woke up today and we didn't have any extra dollars in our DraftKings account, but we're trying to get right tonight. This should be a fun game. Monday Night Football showdown. Let's just talk about quickly what we're seeing here when it comes to the odds. So obviously the 49ers are at home, don't have to deal with any weather. The interesting thing here to me, obviously the total is at 50. That's a nice total. The spread is 3.5 in favor of the Rams on the road. The interesting thing here is the money line odds for the Rams are a little lower than I thought they would be. What jumps out to you here, man? I mean, I know both teams are coming off of a disappointing loss, but the Rams are a much better team than the 49ers. They really are.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of with you on this one. I figured it would be a little bit more of a wider gap as far as the win odds for the Rams versus the Niners. But I mean, just as a straight bet, I wouldn't mind putting some actual money on the Rams minus 180 kind of at those odds. So I think that the Rams should be a little bit more favored. The one thing to keep in mind is, to your point, this is a rivalry game. It does look like San Francisco is getting a few more players back, but this is a really good Rams team. And if they win this game, they're tied for the Cardinals in first back in the NFC West. And obviously, they currently have they don't have the tiebreaker. So this is a really important game for LA.
Yeah.
San Francisco, not so much. Like, they are where they are, and they're probably not going to be able to recover. The West is just too competitive of a division right now. So I think this means a little bit more to the LA Rams. So I think that there's an opportunity here for a little bit bigger of a spread and just a little bit more love that can go to the Rams. So, I mean, the other thing to look at here, too, is just based on this, I'm going to assume that 3-3 is going to be a pretty popular build type. So I may not have any issues actually just jamming in 4 Rams and running it back with 2 Niners in most of my lineups tonight.
Look, Kyle Shanahan's catching a lot of heat and, well-deserved. But I think he's a good enough coach, and I think this is, like I said, this is a rivalry game. I think the 49ers can come out and play well. Maybe I'm giving the 49ers a little bit too much credit, but they're not a bad team. They don't have a good quarterback, in my opinion. That's what's holding them back the most here, and they've dealt with a lot of issues. So if they can just kind of figure out a way to appeal to the good side of what Jimmy G does and base the game plan a little bit more around him. And if their defense can hold the Rams to a little bit under what they typically would, I think they have a chance in this game. That's why I'm a little bit. I am actually really excited to see this game. And look, we're Cardinals fans. We see these teams 2 times a year. We're very aware of what the good and the bad of both of these teams. And I do think San Francisco has a shot, but I think generally speaking, the Rams are going to probably win this game. Let's get over to injuries. So Robert Woods, obviously, the timing of that ACL injury is pretty crazy. I mean, it's basically the same day that we got news that Odell Beckham was signing. We find out that in practice he tore his ACL and continued to play through practice for whatever reason. Finding out later that he did in fact have that ACL injury. He's out for the year. That does open up a lot of interesting things that we'll get to here in a second. Mohamed Sanu injury is actually kind of a bigger deal than I ever thought it would be. Us spending time talking about Mohamed Sanu in 2021 was probably, I didn't think that was probably going to happen, but he was the solid number 3 guy. He was getting some targets. Now he's out. That's going to open up things for Juwan Jennings and Trent Sherfield. Also just more targets to the studs on this team. JaMychal Hasty is obviously, he's still out, so that makes things a little bit easier when it comes to the 49ers running backs. The 49ers running backs, they shuffle around quite a bit. They've had multiple starting running backs over the past few years. But the interesting thing is Jeff Wilson is coming back. This is his first game active this year. Jeff Wilson led the team last year in rushing yards. So Jeff Wilson playing this week, he's going to back up. He's going to be the backup here, which is good because he's cheap. Jeff Wilson's $1,200, and Elijah Mitchell's only $6,400 himself. So I'm very interested in these running backs. Now Trey Sermon is $800. I think Trey Sermon, he's been a healthy scratch multiple times this year. I don't like him this week at $800. You could probably try a couple lineups with him, but I really like Jeff Wilson this week. We'll get to that here in a minute. The other guy that we need to talk about is Ben God, I'm going to mess his name up so many times. Skowronek. That sounds about right to me. So Ben Skowronek, wide receiver for the Rams. He's questionable, but from what I've seen, he's expected to start tonight for Robert Woods. So one thing to really keep in mind here, guys, Odell Beckham, just because he's a wide receiver doesn't mean he can just be plugged right into Robert Woods' spot. He's more likely to split time with Van Jefferson in that spot, and Ben Skowronek is going to start tonight, and as long as he's active and as long as he's healthy, he's $200, and he might be on the field 70+% of the game. He could be on the field the whole game. So, anyways, thoughts on some of these injuries. Does this Ben Skowronek? We haven't really seen much of him. He had 3 targets for 3 receptions this year so far. He hasn't really seen the field much. Are you interested in getting a lot of him at $200 if he's going to be on the field? If he's going to be starting, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to overthink that at all. I'm going to have a whole shitload of him.
Yeah.
And, just looking at his picture here, he looks like Cooper Kupp's cousin. So, maybe that means that him and Stafford will just have a natural pairing. I mean, look, Todd McVay is not going to just start some random dude at wide receiver if there's no chemistry there. $200 is silly. That's just a mispricing. That news came out early
Sean
enough.
McVay, by the way. Yeah.
What did I say? Todd McShay?
Todd McShay.
Todd. I don't even know what's going on. Anyways, Sean McVay, whatever. The head coach.
Yeah.
They're all. I mean, he's in this position because he's an offensive guy, right? He's a very smart guy. He's not going to just throw in Ben Sko and not have any chemistry with Matt Stafford. And again, don't overthink it. He's $200.
$200.
Probably should be 80% owned.
If
we do not see the highest owned $200 guy of all time, I will be thoroughly shocked.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's coming in right now probably because he's questionable still, technically, and there's some doubt about whether or not he's going to play. But he's coming in at under 20% ownership. So we'll see as he's announced as inactives come out. We'll see if that ownership shifts at all. But there's no reason for me, if I'm doing 80 to 100 lineups, I'm going to have 50% of him across the board potentially. I
don't know how you don't play him.
And then there's also other value that you can pair and you could just go all out in the captain and all out in the flex, and have Skowronek and Jeff Wilson or something in the flex. We'll get to that in a second. So let's get to our breakdown here. All right. So we're going position by position. Hey guys, help us out. Throw us a like real quick while you're watching the video. We really appreciate it. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers by the end of this month. So help us out. Hit the subscribe button. We really appreciate it. Matthew Stafford, 10.8K. Jimmy G, 10K. And look, I have Trey Lance here. He's at 6K. I'm not telling you to play some Trey Lance, but we've seen some crazy things happen this year. I figured you might as well mention. Maybe I'll get 1 or 2 lineups with Trey Lance just in case Jimmy G is sucking ass at halftime. Maybe they're going to want to try to put Trey Lance in to try to get... I mean, why not? If you're losing this game, your record is what it is, why not just put him in and try it out? The chances that happen are low, but I figured I'd mention it. If Jimmy G is the guy who's playing this entire game, I don't love him in this matchup. He's at 10K. And Matt Stafford's at 10.8K. That's a good price for a guy like that. I'm really interested in getting a ton of Matt Stafford. So thoughts on these guys?
Yeah, I don't see that there's going to be much reason to fade any of these guys. Well, obviously, I mean Jimmy G and Matt Stafford, right? So yeah. We're going to have a value on this slate where we're going to be okay with getting both these guys in here. I'm going to be prioritizing Stafford. They probably should have a different pricing gap between him and Jimmy G, just considering the kind of output that we have been getting from Stafford.
Yeah.
I mean, he's more likely to hit 20 plus points than he is to hit under 20. So
yeah,
it's going to be really hard to not have him in most of my lineups. And then again, Jimmy G, like I expect if this is going to be a competitive game, like he's probably going to be 15 to 20 points. So you're going to need decent exposure to him. Now, I think this, you can get creative a little bit with throwing in some lineups with random dart throws of Trey Lance. I mean, even last night we saw Marcus Mariota come in for a play.
Yeah.
And we've been seeing some weird shit over the past couple of weeks where I think you might be okay. I'm not saying go in and if you're running 2 or 3 lineups, have Trey Lance in those lineups.
Agreed.
That's a very bad idea.
Yeah, agreed.
But if you're just willing to take a dart throw in a 150 max because you think there's an opportunity to cash in, I don't hate throwing in Trey Lance over Jimmy G and then just letting that lineup die.
And Jimmy G doesn't have to get injured or leave at halftime for Trey Lance to be able to score a touchdown on a goal line run. We've seen that happen so many times this year, where the backup comes in who's a better runner and they do that read option play. All right, so let's. There's not a whole lot to talk about here. I personally don't want to put any of these guys at captain. That's just my personal preference. I don't like to put the quarterbacks at captain just because they're going to be the top 2 highest owned guys potentially. Maybe Jimmy Garoppolo is like the 3rd highest owned captain. I'm going to avoid that because there's so many other options on this slate that I want to go with. So Ellie, let's go with running back. Who do you want to talk about first?
Yeah, let's go with San Francisco.
Okay, we're going San Francisco. Take it away.
Yeah, I think this one is just a real easy situation here. I mean, normally I don't mind playing guys like Kyle Juszczyk, Kyle J, and then Trey Sermon at $800. I would normally be all over, but getting Jeff Wilson back and the way that Eli Mitchell has played lately, like I'm fine handcuffing these two and getting the entire backfield, right? So these are really going to be the 2 guys that I'm prioritizing. I probably won't look at the other 2 at all. Jeff Wilson at $1,200 and then Eli Mitchell at $6,400. Hey, those are just mispricings given what they're going to be
100%.
Doing in the offense. So I don't even really have much more to say than that. Those are my 2 favorite plays from this side. I will have a decent amount of exposure to both of them. I guess the only other note is I think Eli Mitchell becomes an interesting captain play, especially if he's under like 20% owned, which I kind of I expect him to be kind of low owned.
Yeah.
The Rams are the favorite in this game, and I think people are going to jack up on the running game. But again, when you're playing a good offense, the best thing you can do is have a strong running attack to keep the ball out of their hands. So I don't think Kyle Shanahan's going to come out and just start airing it out all of a sudden.
Yeah, and both Elijah Mitchell and Jeff Wilson can catch balls out of the backfield. Right. One thing to look at here. So obviously Wilson's making his debut after a knee injury in the offseason. He led the 49ers in rushing last year. This is a direct quote from Kyle Shanahan. I expect Jeff to get some carries, and you never go into it saying it'll be 50-50. Elijah is our starter right now. He's earned that. You open the game up with him, but they both can do things. And Jeff also can help on third down, which he's always done in the past. That just means to me they're really gonna want to get Jeff Wilson involved here. I'm not saying he's gonna, it's gonna be a 60-40 split, but if Jeff Wilson can get on the field 30% of the time at $1,200, man, I really like him in this game. And Trey Sermon is a guy that I'm not gonna touch at all. And Kyle Juszczyk at 2K, he can get you a touchdown, he can get you a couple receptions. I might sprinkle him in, but I'd rather completely eliminate Sermon. Unless there's an injury, I don't expect Trey Sermon to really see the field tonight. I just really don't.
Yeah.
All right, and look, Elijah Mitchell at 6,400, man. He's a starting running back, man. He's crushed it. He's crushed it this year, generally speaking. I know he's had some bad games, but these bad games have more to do with, the team sucking ass. All right, so let's go to the other side here. Let's go to the Rams. Let me find them. There they are. Darrell Henderson, Sony Michel, take it away, bro.
Yeah, so I think this is a pretty clear-cut and dry situation. I mean, Darrell Henderson, DHJ is going to get a lot of the volume. The only reason I may not get to a lot of him is just because I like the pricing on the other side of the ball, and I think I want as much Cooper Kupp as I can get, right? We're going to have the value to kind of start jamming in these really high-priced guys, so I think I might end up with a little bit less Darrell Henderson than really the field. Now, he does make, again, for another interesting captain play because of my lack of exposure. That's probably going to naturally happen there with the flex. But, again, I don't want to put too much credence to that. When we get over into the lineup build, we may see that we were able to afford DHJ and Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford along with some of these other guys just because of the value we found. So he's really the only guy I'm looking at from here. Sonny Michel at 5K is just too expensive. Yeah, with the lack of work that he's probably going to get. Even if he does come in and get a touchdown, 20 rushing yards, I just don't know in a 50-point total that's going to be enough at 5K to get you there. So, and again, I just rather play Beast Grow or whatever his name is, the wide receiver that's $200.
Look, Sony Michel is usually priced around 28, 2,000 to 4,000 maybe. That's 4,000 is kind of the highest we've seen him recently. The only reason why he's priced up is because he got a garbage time touchdown when the Rams starter shouldn't even been on the field in that last game. He got a garbage time touchdown, which killed me, by the way. I'm sure that killed a lot of people's lineups. Absolutely killed me. I was in first place until that happened. He's priced up for no reason. There's a chance that Sony Michel, depending on the game script, gets 30% of the snaps and he only gets a handful of carries. It's possible. If he was closer to that 2,000 to 3,000 range, I would be more likely to play him. But Sony Michel at 5K, I'm just not interested in. I just am not. And look, if you think that this game, you think the 49ers can be winning in this game and the Rams are passing a lot in the second half, then maybe Sony Michel should make it into your very specific lineup that's based on that game plan. But I'd rather not play him at all. Spoiler alert to Fate of the Night. All right, so let's go to wide receivers. We'll start with the Rams. So look, Cooper Kupp, 12K. He's expensive, as well he should be. Dude's getting 75,000 targets a game. Even last week, without a touchdown, dude still absolutely got there. I think he was the optimal captain still. Odell Beckham Jr., he's at 7,400. Why? I have no clue. DraftKings just didn't want us to play him, apparently. If I'm going to get any Odell Beckham Jr., maybe I'll throw him in a captain a couple times. But at 7,400, we don't know his role yet. We just don't know his role. They're even talking about him returning punts and things like that. To me, they're going to try to ease him in a little bit. I don't think he's going to be out there 50% of the time. He might get a couple snaps. Maybe he'll get a goal line, a target, or something to that effect. I'm not going to prioritize him. And right now, the field isn't either. I think he's going to be under 15% owned as of now. Van Jefferson, 5,400. He is the one who gets affected the most by this Odell Beckham signing. Van Jefferson at 5,400 is a good price, but is he on the field half the time? I don't know. We're going to find out real quick here. I still think you can target Van Jefferson because I still think he has that deep threat, and you really only need like 2 or 3 long passes from him for him to pay off. But the interesting thing here is Ben Skowronek. He's at $200. Don't overthink it. Like I said, he's filling in directly for Robert Woods. And we see an actual quote here from Jay Glazer is reporting the 7th round rookie Ben Skowronek will start Monday night against the 49ers to fill in for Robert Woods. So the Rams have a package of plays drawn up for Odell Beckham and Rams debut, but Glazer noted that OBJ and Woods playing different positions among the wide receiver group. So basically, we're going to see Ben Skowronek on the field to start the game potentially. And the chances that that there's going to be at least 2 wide receivers on the field, most likely Cooper Kupp and Ben Skowronek, or Cooper Kupp and Van Jefferson, some combination of that, I do feel very comfortable playing Ben Skowronek. And just in case Skowronek does not play tonight, you got J.J. Koski and Tutu Atwell that you can think about, but I think Ben's going to play. So thoughts on this? Are you interested in Odell Beckham? And we can't overthink Cooper Kupp now because I think he gets the absolute biggest boost. He's the biggest benefactor to this injury.
Yeah, I mean, look, Cooper Kupp's Cooper Kupp. I don't think anybody needs to hear us talk about playing him. We are not fading Cooper Kupp, to the shock of anybody who's watched this in the past. So he's just too much of a lock-on play for me. ODB, that OBJ, I always get him confused with ODB, dirty bastard. Anyways, so Odell, right, like, I don't know, man. Like, he may have a couple plays drawn up for him. I'm just not sure that his price should be pretty much what it,
7,400.
I mean,
yeah,
7,400. He's projected for 77.4 points. Like, that seems unreasonable to me. Like, I just don't know that he's going to be able to get there. I think I'd rather play Elijah Mitchell. He's going to have more time. He's like, what, $1,000 less, and he's going to give, or was he similar? Yeah, I mean, I just don't know that you need to go there. Van Jefferson, I think he's 100% in play. To your point, right, Odell Beckham was brought in to fill in an additional need at wide receiver. He wasn't brought in under the guys to replace Robert Woods, right? They weren't planning on his need to be replaced. So they have to rework the offense so that he can fit that role. So Ben might be the direct backup to Robert Woods, Ben Skowronek or whatever his name is. So, like, that's where I'm kind of anticipating that we're going to get the most boost out of a $200 player.
Yeah.
So when we're looking at him over Van Jefferson, the only reason why I'm going to start him, well, besides the price, is because he's going to be playing that Robert Woods role.
Yeah.
I don't think Van Jefferson's specific role is going to change. I still think he's going to come out for 3 wide receiver sets, run out of the slot, and things of that nature. So, and otherwise, they wouldn't have announced that they'd be looking at Ben at all. So I think, honestly, I think you're fine running 2 out of the 3 because we know the targets are going to be concentrated to Cooper Kupp, and then you really just got to guess right on Van and Ben, which, honestly, I don't hate either of them. I think, you can do whatever you want. You can play all 3 because Ben could simply be a punt at $200.
Yeah.
So I just think that there's a lot of flexibility that you have here, but you're going to need probably 2 of these guys here to win.
If Ben isn't the highest $200 player we've seen on Showdown, or the highest owned $200 player we've seen on Showdown this year, I'd be very surprised.
Yeah, I don't know how you can't get to him.
All right, let's go over to the other side here. Let's go with San Francisco. So Deebo Samuel, 9K. This guy's a stud. I don't care who's back there throwing the ball. I don't care what the matchup is. You got to try to go after Deebo Samuel. He's at 9,000, way underpriced in my opinion. You see this absolute huge upside. You see 9 to 14 targets a game, or 13 targets. He's really not ever getting under 8 targets, And even a game last week against Arizona where they got blown out, he still got 5 receptions for 63 yards and 11 fantasy points. Mm-hmm. You see a guy like this can absolutely come out, and he's most likely going to get you 15 to 25 fantasy points. And even if this team is getting blown out, he's going to get there in garbage time. Brandon Ayuk, 6,600. An interesting play. He's come on lately. Very disappointing in the beginning of the year. We thought he was going to be the number 1 guy this year in the beginning of the season. Last week he had 19 fantasy points in a blowout. He had a touchdown. He can also be a guy that can rush the ball here and there. I don't love him at 6,600. I like him more than Odell Beckham. I really do. Trent Sherfield, 200. Jawan Jennings, 200. Travis Benjamin, 200. I mean, Sherfield and Jennings are in play for me a little bit, and it could be if Skowronek comes in super high owned, you could pivot slightly to Sherfield and Juwan Jennings. But I would rather just go with the guy who we know is going to get on the field more. So thoughts here, we got to play Debo, right? We don't need to talk about him much, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think the only thing that we're going to need to find out is how much flexibility all these value guys give us, because I really think we're going to be able to play Debo as well. So I don't think, well, and a 9K, that's still probably too cheap for what his potential upside is.
Big time.
This dude is literally the yak leader in the NFL. And so, like, that means he's a big play threat anytime he gets the ball. So don't overthink this one. You're probably going to have the value to do it. 9K, you can even play him at captain. It's not terrible.
He hasn't been 9K or less since week 1.
Yeah, that's too cheap for him. And, Brandon Ayuk, I'm with you on this one. I don't think I'm going to have any. Yeah, he got a touchdown last week. Kind of had an outlying performance. He got 20 fantasy points. But when you're getting throttled for long enough, like, you're going to give up underneath routes if you're down by 20 or you're winning by 21 points, right? It's bend and don't break. So those garbage time points are just going to add up. I don't know that the same thing is going to occur tonight if this game is going to be moderately competitive. Again, like, we're not planning for blowouts like we saw against the Cardinals in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I don't think that you want to come in with that kind of game script mentality, thinking that he's going to be able to repeat the performance from last week because of what happened. But the other $200 guys here, I don't hate them either. With Mohamed Sanu out, I think one of these guys does have a little bit of opportunity. And I really honestly expect Ben to be close to like 80% owned. So you may need to have another one of these value guys just to get off some of the chop.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you need a direct pivot, right? You may just want to throw in one of these guys and then still get Jimmy G, Debo, and all of these expensive people so that you can get different at a $200 price.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll have both these guys in my player pool. The other one, who did you have?
It was Travis Benjamin. I think
he's not even in the RG player.
I don't think he's. Yeah, it's Sherfield and Juwan Jennings are the guys I'm really considering. Travis Benjamin is probably not going to get the opportunities that those guys get.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's move on to tight end. George Kittle is at 7,800. Ellie, you take it away. You're the tight end guy here. You have a tight end fetish. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think I have much to say here. George Kittle, I'm playing him. I'm going to be playing him a lot. This is just a bad price for him. It's kind of disrespectful, to be honest. Like, I think that he probably is a prime captain play. I don't want to give away any spoilers, but 7,800 just seems like a dumb price for George Kittle. If they're going to stay competitive in this game, he is going to need to get involvement. And last week, I mean, he was right on pace, right? I mean, 8 targets, 6 receptions, 100 yards, and a touchdown. That's what we expect from him. So it's not like he's doing anything less than what we would expect. And if they're giving the Rams 24 points, that's 3 touchdowns that they're going to get. I think one of them can easily go to Kittle, if not 2. So that's where I'm at with this. Dwelly and Charlie Warner, again, probably not going to have any exposure, but $200 and $400, it's not terrible. You know that they can get a 2 tight end set. They have 2 actual starting wide receivers, and then you have 2 that are $200. So
yeah, goal line opportunities for these guys. We've seen it so many times in the NFL this year, especially on showdown slates, where a third string tight end gets a freaking touchdown while George Kittle is being double teamed on the goal line.
And they're just so short at wide receiver, right? So like it's either tight end is going to get some additional boost, or you got to start looking at the running backs a little bit more for wide receiver or for receptions. We know that Jimmy G is going to throw the ball. Probably 30 to 35 times. So those targets got to go somewhere, and we've only accounted for like 70% of them. So I still think there's opportunity to get in, Dwelly, Warner, and then back into the Jeff Wilson discussion.
Moral of the story is Kittle, despite his lack of production, generally speaking this year, he hasn't been super consistent, and he was injured. 7,800 is too low of a price for him. I still think he's the second best tight end in the NFL. All right, Rams, really no one to talk about here. You've got Tyler Higbee, 6,200. Go ahead, man. Let's talk about him. What do you think? What do you think about Higbee? He's been a little disappointing, but I think we know he's got the upside.
I mean, honestly, I'm not excited about getting to Tyler Higbee. I think, you do get a little bit of a boost with Robert Woods being out, but I just think you're going to have the salary to get to Cooper Kupp. So, like,
Yeah.
pay for him. I think we're going to have the ability to pay for the guys that we need to pay for. This is going to be a very studs and duds type lineup for me. I don't know that I'm going to have much exposure to Higbee. Now, if he does come in under 15-20% owned, I think that you probably want to be double the field because, again, they lost Robert Woods. So there is going to be some additional volume that's redistributed through the field. So I'm not going to be prioritizing him just because we're going to have the salary to pay for everybody else. But I'm going to be keeping an eye on his ownership. If he starts coming in too low, I am going to have a little bit more exposure to him. There could be additional goal line opportunities where they're not running an end around or a jet sweep with Robert Woods, right? Those are opportunities that he may not normally get with Woods on the field. And I don't know if Stafford and Skowronek are going to have the kind of communication or the chemistry to really start risking Robert Woods type plays on the goal line, right? So this might be a time to prioritize a guy like Higbee. So keep an eye on ownership. If you're in the Discord, we'll be watching it throughout the day. Feel free to just ask in there where we're kind of leaning as we get closer to lock. But right now, I won't be prioritizing him, but I am keeping a close eye. These other two guys, Kendall Blanton, Bryson Hopkins, is that Dustin Hopkins' brother?
Maybe. I don't have any of those guys really even.
Again, like we have our $200 guy. We have a really nice value play. I'm not going to overthink any of these other positions.
What would you say if I were to tell you that both of these guys are the same ownership?
These $200 dudes?
No, Kittle and Higbee. Right around 30% ownership. Higbee's going to be popular. Higbee's going to be popular because we're missing Robert Woods.
See, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. But again, I think you just play Cooper Kupp. If Higbee starts becoming chalk, I'm just going to go to more Cooper Kupp, right? Like, he's obviously the best play. So,
it's just pulling more ownership away from Cooper Kupp, in my opinion.
Yeah, and like again, I mean, Higbee and Kittle should not both be 30% owned. I do not think that Higbee is going to outscore Kittle consistently enough for them to even be close on the ownership scale.
Yeah.
If Kittle's 30%, then Higbee should be closer to 10.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty much what I'd be expecting. I'm just going to keep paying for Kittle.
Yeah, you play this game 100 times, Kittle is going to outscore him a majority of those times.
Maybe all of them.
Maybe all of them. I don't know. And look, we did see Higbee get a touchdown called back last week. So there is that. We know he's going to get involved, and he could absolutely score a touchdown. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to not play him. I just rather, like any other sane person, I think I'd rather play George Kittle.
Yeah.
Matt Gay, 4,200 for kickers. Robbie Gould, 4,000. I don't know, man. Yes, play them. For whatever reason, Robbie Gould's going to be half the ownership of Matt Gay. I don't know why, but they're kickers. Who knows? Right?
Yeah, I don't hate them. I mean, I think that they're fine plays in this. If you land there, I mean, if that's where your salary gets you to and that's all you have left, I think people are going to kind of forget about them on a slate like this just because of the value that's so obvious. So I don't necessarily think that they're terrible. The problem is that they are going to have a floor projected ownership, like 15%, just because any optimizer is going to automatically start kicking them in.
Yeah, they're medium
because
projection,
they're medium projection.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, I don't hate it. If you need it as a last piece, we can just record this part of the segment. Last piece, play it, no big deal.
Yeah, and obviously, if you're new to Showdown, don't go putting them in a captain unless you have a death wish. All right. Rams 4,600, 49ers 2,400. We saw the Titans defense absolutely destroy the Rams in that last game. I don't think they're going to repeat that as far as the Rams offense. I think they're going to fix it. But I don't know if I'm super. I mean, look, the Rams have an absolutely dynamic defense. Possibly Von Miller tonight. You've got Aaron Donald. You've got Ramsey. You got a lot of guys who can cause some havoc for this 49ers offense. 4,600, they're not going to be that high owned. They'll probably be under 15% owned. I'm probably a little bit interested in them at 4,600, right?
Yeah, I think they're in play. I think Yeah, this should be an opportunity for the Rams to kind of try and get back on track too, right? Like the 49ers are struggling. This could easily turn into a trap rivalry game for them. But they are the better team, and their defense should be able to hold them pretty well. They have a really strong defensive line. We all know that. If Von Miller gets to play at all, I think that's just an added boost. And Jimmy G's Jimmy G, man. Like he can easily go out there and throw 2-3 interceptions and fumble the ball a couple times. So
Yeah.
I definitely think that there's upside that you can get from the Rams defense. And while we're on it, 2,400 for the 49ers defense. This is still a division rivalry game. I think you sent me this guy who was tracking division rivalry games after like week 7 for the past like decade, and something like 95% of them hit the under, right?
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
could be one of those moments, right? This could be a 24-point total. That's obviously bullshit, but the Rams and the Niners are going to slug it out. It could be a run defense type of day, and at 2,400, I don't think that's a terrible stat to take from the Niners defense.
The Rams need to come out and win this. We all know that. But the 49ers, there's jobs on the line here, man. These are professional athletes. And the coaching staff's jobs on the line too.
Yeah, dude, I'm with you on that. Well, I think both Kyle Shanahan and McVay are very close to being in the hot seat. They have not done what they needed to do, and with what the Rams are doing this season, they're being all in. If they don't do it, like I think, obviously you weren't all in, or you just had the wrong guys.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of implications that could come from this game.
All right, let's do our fade of the night here.
No!
So, Ellie, I tend to agree with you. Like, we're not copping out here. It's when we say no fades, really, there's just no one that we're confident is either underpriced or overowned or anything like that. I personally think Sony Michel is that guy for me. I still have some Sony Michel, but look, a guy like Michel is not going to be that high owned. I mean, he's going to be 11 to maybe he's 15% owned. Maybe at best he's 20% owned. I don't think that kills you if he scores a touchdown. He doesn't end your night if you don't have him. And he's at $5,000. I don't really think he's going to get there in a game script like this. But certain game scripts where I'm building that I think the 49ers can be in the lead, I'll throw him in instead of Henderson. Are you going to be kind of around that? You think you agree with me on Michel?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to be paying for him at that price.
Yeah.
And I'll probably just have him maxed out in my player pool.
All right, here we go with our Crown Their Ass segment.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
There's no way I'm not going heavy Kittle at captain tonight with that price tag. I think he's back from injury. He's the kind of guy that can get you 2 touchdowns, and they could still lose.
Yep. I mean, I don't know what else to say. He's priced disrespectfully. He should probably be 9K like Debo, and Debo should be closer to probably 11. Right, like I'm not trying to say Cooper Kupp's underpriced too, but like wasn't he at like 13-2 one of these slates?
Yeah, one of them, yeah.
Yeah, so like you throw in Kittle, I mean, we're gonna find out right now. We're gonna throw Kittle in captain, and I think we're still gonna be able to get everybody because of our $200 guys and Jeff Wilson.
Exactly. All right, let's go to a lineup build. This is the opto that at what 1 p.m. today, Eastern time. This is what they have: Cooper Kupp, Skowronek, Van Jefferson, Elijah Mitchell, Deebo Samuel, and Stafford. I don't hate this lineup for a cash or single entry lineup. I really don't hate it. Usually these optos...
I don't think this is terrible.
Usually these optos on Showdown really are not good. It's just a calculator plugging in guys, but this one actually makes sense from a game script perspective. So let's build together. So you see kind of an example of Cup lineups. We're not going to waste our time building a Cup captain lineup. But we will do some tournament versions of these lineups here. So let's go with Kittle, and then we can try to find another guy or two to put at captain. So we got to go Stafford, right?
Yeah.
Do we have to go Garoppolo with a pass catcher for the Niners at captain?
Let's start with Jimmy G.
Okay.
If we don't like it, we can come off of him.
All right, so now we got to go. We got to get Kupp. We got to get Debo. We got to get we got to try to fit these guys in. So should we put Kupp in right off the bat?
Yeah.
That leaves us with 5,500. So this is obviously a situation where we're not getting Debo. But let's go down to Ben. And this could be any $200 guy that you feel comfortable with. But the chances are that Skowronek is the best option here. So 5,300 remaining. That gets us Sony Michel. That gets us Rams defense, kickers. It's kind of a no man's land here.
So, yeah, let's go down to Debo from Jimmy G.
Okay, I love it. So Debo, that leaves us at 6,300. That's a lot better because now we can get Tyler Higbee. Now we can get Van Jefferson. These kind of guys. So that's nice. I probably would go with Higbee here, potentially.
I think you can run both of them. Throw in Higbee, run a lineup with Dan.
Do both of them.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Just rotate it up. Let's come off of Cup. Let's just see what happens if we come off of Cup and see what we can actually do here. Can we get a guy like Henderson? And what does that leave us for our last spot? 9,100. That leaves us Debo. Oh, yeah, we already got him. Leaves us. It doesn't leave us much. We really can't. It basically takes us all the way down to Odell. It leaves 1,700 on the table. So there's just really no reason to not play Cooper Kupp in a lineup like this.
Throw in Elijah Mitchell.
Okay, let's do it. We got to get some exposure to him. He's going to be forgotten about, I think, a lot of the times. 11.9K. So
just
anybody we want, almost to Cooper Kupp. I mean, that would have been nice, actually. Man, that's crazy.
Well, this might seem a little crazy, but no, never mind. Yeah, go. So from Matt Stafford, go to Jimmy G, and then throw in Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, this is kind of an onslaught here. Ben and Cooper Kupp as the only Rams players, but I mean, look, if Cooper Kupp gets 180 yards and 12 receptions and 2 touchdowns, you may not need Stafford.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna prioritize this. I still think I'd rather have Stafford over Jimmy G, but I don't hate this lineup.
All right, so let's go with. Do you want to do a variation on this Kittle lineup? Let's build this as if it's the under. Let's say this is 17-14 defensive battle on a Monday night. How would we handle that?
So I still think you go Stafford Kupp. Those are going to be the next two. The one difference is I think you also do Jeff Wilson and Elijah Mitchell.
Yes,
and then let's see where we're at.
I love it. Elijah Mitchell, Jeff Wilson. That leaves us 7,900. That gets us. Nope, doesn't get us anybody really. Gets us Ayuk, or Odell Beckham, or Higbee, and you're leaving a lot on the table with either of those guys. What about what if we go to Henderson on the other side instead of Mitchell and leave Jeff Wilson in? So let's go with Henderson. That leaves us with 5,100. That gets us Sony Michel, Rams defense. I mean, this could be a good opportunity for a defense here for sure. And also kickers. If it's a low-scoring game, the kickers are more important. You can get your kickers in there. 49ers defense. You can do a lot of different things. This is an interesting lineup. You got Kittle. If he can catch you 10 balls for a touchdown, he might be a good captain option in this situation. All right, who else do you want to build with here? At captain.
Let's throw in a Rams player. Give me 1 second. Are you getting any initial projections for Stafford at captain?
Let's see here. Yeah, he's gonna be he's gonna be the second highest owned captain, but half owned as Cooper.
And where's Darrell Henderson sitting? Is he under 10?
Very low. Very low.
Let's build with him at captain.
Henderson is going to be the 2, 4, 6, 8, 9th or 10th highest owned captain.
Okay. Let's build one with him at captain.
I like it. I like that a lot.
All right. I think we can go Cooper Kupp here too.
Okay. You want to fade Stafford in this situation?
Yeah, and then let's run it back with 4 Niners if we can.
Okay. Do you want to get Jimmy in there? Or do you want to... Okay. Let's get Jimmy. Let's get Debo. Oh, see, we can't do that.
Can't quite get.
We can't get Kittle. So if we wanted to fade Jimmy and just have no quarterbacks in this situation in a low-scoring game, let's just try it. Let's see what happens. So let's go Debo and let's go Kittle. That leaves us with 7,400 for 2 spots. Now we could go to Scourneck and just pay up to 7,200, but I don't think we need to because we really only get Ayuk out of that, and I don't want to have 3 pass catchers without the quarterback. Maybe 2 is okay probably, but maybe we go with like a Jeff Wilson, or I'm sorry, Eli Mitchell
Yeah,
Right?
let's throw in Eli. That gives us...
This gives us 1,000. So almost to Jeff Wilson. That would have been nice. You could do a Trey Sermon, but like I said, I don't like Trey Sermon in this game. And then you just have to pretty much go down to Ben Skowronek. Or you can go pick any of these other $200, $400 guys. Ross Dwelly, something like that. I don't hate it. It's a little risky. Don't get me wrong. This is a great tournament lineup. You're leaving out both quarterbacks, but you still have 5 of some of the best position players in the entire game in your lineup,
right?
Which is what you're going to want, especially if it's a low-scoring game. You might not need the quarterbacks. All right, do we want to do like a crazy one? Do we want to go all the way down to like a Jeff Wilson or, you know what I mean, or a Van Jefferson captain? What do you think?
I actually like Van Jefferson. That was going to be the next one I wanted to do.
All right, let's do a Van Jefferson captain. All right, we want to get Stafford.
Yeah.
We want to get Jimmy G, or we want to leave him out?
Let's throw in Jimmy G. I mean, if we got Van Jefferson the captain, maybe we don't need Cooper Kupp.
Okay.
Might be crazy. You want to throw in? Let's go Debo and Kittle.
Love it, Debo. Yep, we can do it, and we're gonna have a decent amount left over here. That leaves us with 4,300. So that gets us kickers, or you drop all the way down to 49ers defense. So you can.
I don't know. I think Matt Gay actually kind of fits this pretty nicely.
Stafford, Jefferson, Matt Gay. Then you've got Jimmy G, Debo, and Kittle. I don't hate it. And if you wanted to get real crazy, I mean, you can go all the way, leave a ton on the table, and go down to Wilson or whatever. But you're not gonna.
If you do that, you can go from Debo up to Kupp.
To Kupp? Yeah. Can you? You sure can. Look at that. That actually is nice. I'll do both of these lineups.
Yeah.
Try both of them. All right, man. Good show. I actually feel pretty good about this slate.
Yeah, the pricing's nice enough to where you can kind of just do what you want.
I feel good about it. That means I'm going to get my ass kicked. That's usually how it works. The slates where I feel terrible about it, I do great on. So what's your thoughts on low-owned guy that can score in this game? And also, what's your final score prediction here?
So I think low-owned guy that probably has the best upside for scoring is probably going to be Jeff Wilson, man. I definitely think he can get a goal line touch or two.
Yeah.
And prediction for this game, 31-17. I'm just going to stick with that until I get it right.
I think that I'm not going to... I better be careful when I say this, just in case people are skipping around. I think Trey Lance can actually get a poached goal line carry in this game. I still don't want to play him at that price tag, but he will be like 3 or 4% owned. So I do think it's possible, but I'm not going to go heavy on him. So don't quote me on that. I think this is going to be like a 21-17 game in favor of the Rams. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to hit the under. It's a division rivalry game. I like it. All right, guys, we appreciate it. We will be back for Thursday Night Football. Throw us a like on the way out. Subscribe. Really helps us out. We appreciate all the new subscribers. We will see you next time. Take it easy.